Are we talking about steps to success, or is the season a failure? So we're going to get into some quotes that reflecting on the season. So now our former head coach, Doc Rivers, said after the game on Sunday, this loss absolutely diminishes what we did this year. PJ Tucker agreed and said, yeah, I agree 1,000%. To go down like that without feeling like you have a full fight in 2 games is disappointing to win the series. Embiid said with a smile, like someone said, it's not a failure. It's a step to success. He also said that's the best team in the league, losing to them in 7 games. I thought for the most part we played hard and we came up short. Harden agreed and said, we were only 1 year in. We just played a team that's been together for quite a few years now. They were in the finals last year, and they know what it takes to get back there. This is only year 1, a full year. So it was great. So my question to you guys is, do you guys agree with Doc and Tucker that because of how the Celtics series ended, that this year is a failure, or with Embiid and Harden and the fact that losing to the best team in the league is not a failure? So are you guys team Giannis on this one or not?
Disappointing end. I don't believe in this a failure. It's disappointing, but failure, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I think we talked about this last week, even going into the Game 7. I think it would only be considered a failure because we were up 3-2. Going into the Boston series, we didn't know when Embiid was going to play. We said he was definitely going to be out Game 1, probably out Game 2, maybe for Game 3. Most people didn't even give us a chance. Like
I just for me, it's just hard to say, failure when you play 82 games and then you ended up in 3rd place behind the team, and you lost to that team that was number 2 that showed for 82 games that they were a better seed, and then you lose to them. No matter, it was ugly. Yeah, the game that loss was ugly, but you still lost to a team that had worked all season to be home court advantage. That's why they had the Game 7 at home, and you lose that game. Highly disappointing, but can we say it's a shock? No. So I don't believe in the failure.
And we've seen him do it before. We've seen Boston do that exact same thing.
It's disappointing. It's a failure. No.
Do I think losing a series being up 3-2 is a choke job? Yeah, I'll say we choked. Do I think losing to a superior?
I wouldn't say it's
really? You don't think that's a choke?
Series.
Well, that's that's a colossal choke. That's like
that's what I'm saying. So you got different levels
in that choke. This one's like
levels of choke.
Yeah, you'll get it up at some point after this one. After you get with the Doc, then it comes up. That was like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I
get in the hospital,
job, I think about the Hawks.
That's like a collapse. Like I don't even choke doesn't even do it. But do I think losing to a superior team makes you a failure? No, and they are the better team. I think we had top end, although they didn't play like it, but they're the better overall team. And James is right. I mean, Boston's been to 5 out of 7 semifinals. I can make an argument that's a bigger failure that Boston hasn't won a ring in those years. 5 times in the semifinals in 7 years, you haven't won a ring yet? I think that's a bigger fail than being up 3-2 against a better team and losing. But no one calls Boston a failure, even though, hey, if we go back to before Game 6, everyone was talking about Boston tearing it down and getting rid of and separating Brown and Tatum. Remember that? That's funny how things are.
That's why I said, you win Game 6, it's a totally different conversation.
Yeah, yeah. And on top of that, it's funny that Doc says that too, right? He losing, being up 3-2 makes your entire season a failure. Well, then, Doc, if that's the case, then most of your career was a failure then because you've had a lot of playoff chokes. So if you're going to go with that rationale for this season, then I guess you call at least 7 years of your career failures then because he's done this a lot. So I hope he doesn't call every single season that ends this way a failure because, yeah.
I'm just saying, but if a season doesn't end this way and you lose and you don't make the playoffs, is that not a failure too? So that's what I'm saying. We're looking at failures every year then.
Yeah.
No, you're better off. Actually, I think you're better off just missing the playoffs than getting in and losing. Because with the minute you get in and lose, coach is gone.
I'm just saying, but it's all a failure. I mean, he didn't win the championship.
Yeah. I will say, Teja, the threshold for us in Boston is a little different. Our threshold was just getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. They get there every year, like you said. So, I mean.
But do you remember before we lost, though, I said it would actually be a better look to lose to Boston in this series than to beat Boston and lose to an inferior Miami, because we are better than Miami. Losing to Miami would be a major choke job in the Eastern Conference Finals. We're much better, and they're injured.
And I think we'd be having the same conversation. If that were to happen, we'd be having the same conversation we're having right now in this episode, but just in 2 weeks, if that were to happen, like you're saying.
If we lost to Miami, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think losing to Miami would trump getting into the Eastern Conference Finals. Because if I were to tell you play Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals after losing Hero and Oladipo, you'd say, "Oh, we're going to the finals. We're going to the championship."
If we were lucky enough to do that, that would have meant that we would have lost a home game.
Yes.
1, 2, 5, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
We lost one of them.
Yep.